Released by Atlus in 1997 on the Sega Saturn, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Soul Hackers would be a direct sequel to Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner. Directed by Koji Okada and Kazuyuki Yamai, and written by Masumi Suzuki and Yusuke Gonda, the game would be the second entry of the spin-off sub-series but would not release outside of Japan until a later 2012 3DS port. The story only gets larger from here, so let's cut it down to size with a recapitation. As the game begins, it's been 5 years since the Japanese government's urban modernization project transformed a sleepy country town into Amami City, a cyber metropolis with its own online network. Now, the public beta for Algonsoft's virtual city Paradigm X is about to go live, and the number of applicants for an invite has been overwhelming. One evening at a public terminal, a girl named Hitomi urges her friend, a boy in a green jacket who was a member of the great hacker group the Spookies, to hack into the server for Paradigm X and insert themselves into the winning raffle. Isolating the HTTP node and dumping it on the other end of the sequel router, the hacker overrides all security, succeeding in overriding the name of one of the winners of the beta entry with his own. Before he leaves, a voice emanates from the terminal, calling the hacker out by name and recognizing he bears a strong soul. The voice introduces himself as Kinap and says they'll speak again soon. Returning home, the hacker's little sister, Tomoko, is excited to announce the news he just won the beta raffle, and as he checks his email, sees an encoded message from the leader of the Spookies calling for them to gather at the new spot for their HQ. Arriving early, Hitomi and the hacker wait as their base, a custom trailer truck rolls in and they are greeted by a man named Sakurai who goes by the handle Spooky. As they wait for the others, they chat about recent events as Spooky doesn't recognize the name Kinap. Instead, he then shows them what he found recently, a portable computer shaped like a gun. However, ever since he acquired it, he's been followed by suspicious people, prompting a relocation of their base. Spooky decides to revisit the place he bought it from and investigate further, and as they wait, the boy and Hitomi decide to check out the Paradigm X beta. Logging in, the introduction to the virtual world boasts of a no-lag, high-fidelity experience, and inside the cyber town they visit the many shops and shows available already. They also pause to watch a word of welcome by Vice Minister Nishi, who headed the Amami Model City project, who was proud to have put a free state-of-the-art computer in every home, alongside custom high-speed intranet and a convenient citizen ID system. Right after, Director Kudokura of Algonsoft also welcomes everyone, assuring the beta testers everything just works. However, when preparing to log out, the hacker and Hitomi hear a bellowing voice demand souls, and just when they see some strange light on their screen, they are rescued in time by a coyote. Out of danger, the coyote introduces itself as Kinap and explains the light was about to steal both of their souls. Though, it adds the monster behind it is still hungry for souls and the entire city is in danger. To prevent this, Kinap asks the hacker for his help as he cannot do much on his own, and to better help him understand what is going on, places the boy in a vision quest to connect his soul to others in the past and relive their final moments. Experiencing the life of a man named Arabe who was in possession of the gun PC, dubbed Comp, he was on his way to Algonsoft HQ in an effort to fight a group called the Phantom Society. Arabe's mission was to infiltrate the building and copy one program onto the Comp, but senses there are demons running loose in the building. Fortunately, Arabe is a devil summoner himself, able to use the Comp's programs to summon and command demons loyal to himself as he locates the target terminal. He's shocked to see the sheer amount of megabytes for the file size of the program named Nemissa, and is forced to delete the demons off of his Comp in order to free up enough space. Taking the risk, he completes the transfer just to be caught by a former colleague named Finnegan, who reveals Arabe used to work for the Phantom Society too before betraying them. Defenseless, Arabe flees to deliver Nemissa to Kinap but finds himself cornered. Quickly, he locks the Comp with a password just as Finnegan arrives and guns him down. Kinap then brings the boy's soul back from the vision quest and back to reality. A concerned Hitomi mentions how the boy was comatose during the strange journey, but the boy quickly unlocks a Comp while the password is still fresh in his memory. Activating the gun PC, it releases a strange soul that emerges from the device and flies out before striking Hitomi. Suddenly, Hitomi transforms into a blue-haired girl with a different personality who introduces herself as the demon Nemissa and thanks the hacker for summoning her. However, Hitomi fights for possession of her own body, able to regain control sporadically, as the boy notices the gun PC also has the ability to summon other demons and even fuse them. At this time, more members of Spookies arrive, with their gun expert Shingo, who goes by the handle 6, and hardware modder Jinosuke, who goes by the handle Lunch. As they wait for the final member Yuichi, Lunch takes the time to replace the CPU of their terminal with the latest model he just obtained, tossing out the crypto chip that comes standard to every PC of the city. Just then they get a call from Spooky, who says he's in trouble at the Algon NS building. He also mentions seeing monsters before being cut off, and Nemissa is suddenly excited to go and eager for a fight. Gearing up, 6 lends them all guns from his collection, and sneaking into the building, Lunch transcodes the bandwidth capacitor to hack the elevators for their use. It turns out 6 is quite cowardly in the face of real danger, and as the hacker and Nemissa gather demon allies, they run into the man who was commanding the demons of the building, a summoner named Carol J wielding an electric guitar comp. Learning they're not in the Phantom Society, Carol J attacks, but is blown away by the hacker's swordsmanship and Nemissa's magic. After Carol J retreats, the duo rescues Spooky, who was surprised to see them wield the gun PC, and back at their base explains the place he bought it from said they found the device outside the building and thought they might have been connected. Seeing now that they are, Spooky is now curious about who the Phantom Society is as their final member Yuichi arrives. Lunch decodes the information Spooky managed to find, sourcing a web address to a private news group called SummonerNet. Accessing it, they find it to be an information forum for the Phantom Society talking about the beginning of a major project involving the collection of souls, the rise of demons within Amami City, and killing all who interfere. There is also an alert that the Kuzunoha group has begun to make their move, and the traitor Arabe has been dealt with a few days ago. They are interrupted by an error notification on the comp as the message reads to go to Gomiden, and think it refers to the hotel cruise ship docked in the harbor. Greeted by a maid named Mary and the captain and doctor Victor von Frankenstein, he is friendly to all devil summoners and eyes their damaged comp, offering to repair it. In exchange, he asks them to venture into the cold storage warehouse in Amami Bay and retrieve a certain doll made of earth but holding a spark of life in it. Agreeing, they find the warehouse is less refrigerated and more frozen over by a demon. Defeating it, they find the lab of Dr. Thrill, who retreats for now but swears revenge for them interrupting his research. Finding the mysterious doll Victor requested, they are suddenly called by Spooky, who shares Carol J's scrub posting on SummonerNet and issuing a challenge for clout. Spooky feels this is a great opportunity to learn more about the Phantom Society, who have opened a training ground for their summoner soldiers called the Sea Ark. Fulfilling their end of the bargain, the hacker hands the Dolly Cadmon to Victor, who unlocks the means to create a Zoma ally, but also new functions for the comp. Meeting Carol J in the Astro Museum, he is eager for payback against the hacker and Nemissa, but in summoning his most powerful demon, the bellowing demon they heard in Paradigm X instead emerges, declaring itself Muus, and possesses Carol J against his will. Defeating the fusion, Muus blames the weakness of his host for the loss and quickly seeks a stronger body, forcing its soul into Nemissa and Hitomi. As all three struggle for control of one body, Hitomi disappears, and defeated, Carol J declares his retirement. Immediately, the boy gets a call from Hitomi saying she's in Paradigm X right now and to meet her at HQ. Entering the trailer, Nemissa is able to not only see the hacker from within the terminal, but able to physically leave Paradigm X through the monitor as well. She thinks she gained this ability when Muus tried to take over, but for some reason when they got to Paradigm X, he wasn't there anymore. Taking hold of the hacker's hand, Nemissa transports both of them directly into Paradigm X, and after taking time to enjoy the environment, she dons a new outfit more her style. The duo encounter Keenap in an alley, this time in the form of a hare, asking the hacker to undergo another vision quest. Agreeing to help, the hacker connects his soul to that of Judah Singh, a dark summoner who has witnessed the roots of the upcoming calamity. Embarking, the boy learns Judah was helping Vice Minister Nishi eliminate demons that are obstructing his model city project with the help of his saxophone comp. Within Amami Airport, Judah stumbles into Rei Reiho, a member of Kuzunoha and archenemy of the Phantom Society, and attacks. However, he is hopelessly outmatched, and Rei suggests he goes home and rethinks his life. Second-guessing the meaning of what he thought he believed in, a distracted Judah confronts Winpei, a demon born of the electric sea of the Windows pre-installation environment, who questions who is calling upon Manitou. Though Judah destroys the demon still lingers within the control room computers, repeating the name Manitou as it blows up the room and takes Judah down. Back in the present, Keenap guides the hacker to the airport to pick up the trail where Judah left off, and Hitomi notices a new message on SummonerNet rallying all society members to the airport to take down Winpei under the supervision of Finnegan. Social engineering the guards to the airport to sneak in, the duo also hear the ghostly voice and regrets of Judah, leading to his broken comp where they salvage parts from it to upgrade the gun comp. Arriving at the control room, they witness Finnegan with his brass knuckles comp taking down Winpei himself, though he quickly recognizes they are not society and leaves behind some demons to kill them, assuming them to be Kuzunoha. After the enforcer leaves, the duo handle the demons, only for a man in a purple suit to enter and commend them, introducing himself as Sukaroku, the actual Kuzunoha Finnegan mistook them for. He conceals the fact he's actually the owner of the Kuzunoha detective agency possessed by the spirit of the protagonist of the first Devil Summoner game, but does mention being open to switching bodies soon. He's here looking for his assistant Rei, and is fine with duo being summoners as long as they oppose the Phantom Society too. The duo then get a call from Spooky saying he worked a connection that will help them and their comp, and as the two part ways from Sukeroku, the detective mentions they'll likely meet again. Lunch offers to take them to their new contacts, as outside he runs into his father who is deeply concerned for him, but Lunch angrily rejects him outright. After the two are introduced to a pair of DJs, the Reticulan brothers, who are also ace hackers and scripters who can make new programs for their comps, the hacker receives a call from his mother that his sister Tomoko has suddenly lost consciousness. Hurrying home, Hitomi sees she has Paradigm X open and recognizes her condition as the same as when the boy entered the digital world earlier. Thinking to dive inside with Nemissa's power, they follow Hitomi's trail in the VR art museum to find her trapped inside one of the paintings of the dolphin. Outside, a strange juggler introduces himself and challenges them to a game of wits with Tomoko's soul on the line. Accepting, the hacker jumps inside of trapped paintings and navigates past Juggler's tricks and riddles, catching up and cutting him down to gain the keys to unlock Tomoko's mental prison. Passing by a boy who points out dolphins are so smart they likely have the means to lie, plot against humans, and even kill the Prime Minister, they find the dolphin trapping Tomoko's soul is not Kinap but just another demon offering her a means to escape the academic pressure placed on her by their mother in the real world. Destroying the demonic dolphin, Tomoko's soul is freed and returns to the real world, but the group is concerned when the devil reveals a mission to collect a massive amount of souls. On their way out, they notice the hacker's father now begins to act strangely vacant too, and a cloak Muis with a new body waits outside their home to attack them. The doxing devil declares Nemissa is a threat to its master and attacks, but upon losing runs away for now. Finding a machine part that fell off of Muis' body during the fight, the group traces its origins to the Leon Automotive Company and move out to investigate the clue. Finding the plant strangely under a blackout, Spooky is able to hack the Ethernet array and reroute the analog ASCII to restore the power first, only to find Ray there, who shut the power off so the demons would not come out. She leaves them to handle their business, as Six reports he and Yuichi got in another argument and Yuichi went home. Finding Muis at his modified machine body, Nemissa asks if his master is the one who sealed her, and Muis replies she should know that answer already and questions if she's lost her memory. As Muis fails to destroy Nemissa once again, he retreats into cyberspace, though Nemissa immediately pursues him. She is halted as a strange memory of a strange person invades her mind, but is still able to find and corner Muis. He reveals Nemissa's ability to jump into cyberspace from the real world is a power they all already have, and more will come after her, dissolving before sharing more about Manitou. Back outside, Ray commends their victory, mentioning she's here to investigate Phantom but has come up empty-handed. She also senses two souls within Hitomi and recommends that if they plan to continue fighting against Phantom 2, then they meet with the overseer of the Kuzunoha clan, Madame Ginko. Agreeing more information would be helpful, they agree to meet Madame Ginko, who warns them the Phantom Society is a much larger and more dangerous organization than they think. Elaborating, she explains they've controlled the world from the shadows for ages, with influence across the globe and even control over entire nations. In fact, without knowing their specific plans for Mami City, she knows their motivations are neither good nor evil, but all for the sake of control. All the same, since they share a common enemy, she offers to help them, gifting the boy with a weapon called the Nameless Sword. She adds the boy likely reminded Ray of a similar young man who, 3 years ago, had no choice but to become a summoner after being killed by a dark summoner and after his soul possessed another summoner. Still, that young man still works hard today, and she urges them not to die young, leaving them in the care of Chef Muramasa, who can forge demonic souls into swords to give him greater power. Afterwards, Spooky shares a message on SummonerNet from Finnegan, directly challenging the boy to a one-on-one duel at a Mami float, and to make matters worse, Yuichi went out on his own in response to the message. Knowing their ally is in over his head, they head out to rescue Yuichi, only for Finnegan to call the hacker directly with Yuichi's phone, telling him to show up to the duel alone, and Finnegan's only condition for release is his own defeat. He admits this is purely out of pride and has nothing to do with the Phantom Society, and the hacker accepts his terms, as Finnegan sets up a fight with equal footing and yet loses anyway. Forced to recognize the hacker's prowess, Finnegan retreats, claiming he wasn't using his full power, as the group finds Yuichi safe but deflated of all his usual energy. Back with the group, Six blows up at Yuichi for the ordeal and the two leave, but when the rest of the group returns to HQ, there is a new message for them on the SummonerNet. According to the Resident Administrative Bureau, the hacker has been found in violation of their TOS, and as a result their ID has been deleted. Locked out of every function of the smart city, the hacker checks in on Six as the group thinks of a solution, but are shocked to find his soul has been taken while playing VR Haunted Mansion in Paradigm X. Reporting this, Lunch mentions the same thing has been happening to people all over Amami City, and Spooky lets them know their allies, the Reticulan brothers, have bypassed the Bluetooth SSD binary protocol and hooked up the hacker with a new all-access ID. Heading out, they find Lunch's father is waiting outside the trailer, confronting his son on the theft of the chip prototype from the factory he works at, but he leaves somewhat relieved when he learns Lunch used the chip to replace a crypto one. Now entering Paradigm X to rescue Six, they learn he brought forth his own demon that has taken the form of his sister, as Six was easily frightened even as a child and was close to his sister. As they observe his repressed memories, they learn Six accidentally pushed his big sister down the stairs and she bled out and died. Haunted by his resurfaced guilt of his forgotten memory, Six struggles with the ghost of his sister, as Nemissa recognizes that's not her real ghost, just a fabricated demon born from the twisted memories in his heart. They defeat the Phantom, freeing Six's heart and soul, as he still laments not only being the cause of his sister's death, but blocking out the memory. Hitomi points out his real sister was likely a kind person, and if he reflects on her positively, then he can overcome his suffering. As Six wakes up safely, he is humbled and thanks the group as Lunch mentions he hacked the haptic PCI transistor of the local hospital and learned it's filling up with people with the same disease Six just recovered from, and many have turned violent without warning. Spooky finds it awfully suspicious that every patient was playing Paradigm X when they were hit by the disease and suspects the disease is connected to the Phantom Society. Nemissa clarifies it's less a disease and more their souls are being stolen by demons, but is interrupted as Spooky spots someone outside. Mayone, a summoner with a parasol comp, seeks to silence the group for how much they know about the Phantom Society's plans. Though the hacker Nemissa defeat the assassin and her demons, she laughs as she bought enough time, just as Six arrives and notices a plastic explosive attached to the trailer's fuel tank. Six quickly claims he can disarm it, and Spooky hurries to drive at a safe distance away. As everyone else clears out, Lunch thinks they must be on the right track if the society is responding this way, as they see the bomb explode in the distance, just as Spooky and Six drive out in time. Six wasn't able to disarm it in time, but they were able to toss it out behind them and escape alive, so all's well that ends well. Relocating their hiding spot to a warehouse Spooky had prepared, he lets Yuichi know as the hacker's sister calls in a panic to let them know their dad has become unresponsive and joined a riot over at Akane Mall. Passing by Dr. Thrill's new hideout in the Primate Intelligence Lab, they find a horde of the dead rising up angrily in the shopping mall and follow their trail back to a strange warehouse in the back. Discovering a secret underground lab, they find this is where the victims at the mall have escaped from, and are surprised to find the hacker's father here in a violent stupor. Knocking him unconscious, they find a cryogenic stasis room and run into Sukeroku, who destroys the main power to the facility, also looking into the origins of the disease. He also passes along a message from Madame Ginko suggesting they look into crypto for a connection to the demons. For now, they bring the hacker's father home, and speaking to the Spookies, they decide to open up the crypto chip Lunch removed earlier, just when Yuichi arrives, still oddly lacking his normal upbeat demeanor. Disassembling the chip, Nemissa sees something moving as a bizarre flying insect emerges from the chip, while Yuichi is the only other person who also sees the strange insect somehow. Meanwhile, everyone else observes the odd organic orb in the middle, as Six points out the chips are manufactured at Algon Microelectronics, and the group agrees to investigate. Lunch bypasses the open source firewall circuit to get them inside, and the group sees firsthand how the crypto chip is created. While the core of the chip is definitely unusual, they wonder where it actually comes from, and stepping in, Lunch's father explains the core is shipped here, also thinking it's causing the unknown disease. Lunch lays blame on him, concealing this information, but his father says he didn't know, and even if he did know, would have tried to stop it, but Lunch still blames him for backstabbing others for personal gain, including his mother. Lunch's father tries to explain that when the factory was taken over, they threatened to kill his family if he didn't cooperate, and even though he cooperated under duress, the strain placed on Lunch's mother still ended up killing her. Trying to atone, he shares they call the core the Spore, and points them to where there is more information stored on it nearby, unlocking the way for them. Within, Spooky hacks the layers of protection by connecting the high-speed GUI to the cross-platform spyware interface, and getting in, learns the CPU was designed by Kudokura as a means to harvest souls. Inside each crypto chip is a living element called a spore, and each spore can create a carrier, which can capture souls and travel through the net. Once the soul has been obtained, it delivers it back to the parent body via the internet. With every household in Amami City supplied with a PC housing a crypto chip and internet access, all humans using the PCs will eventually have their souls harvested, leaving their bodies lifeless in a catatonic state. Seeing this link now, the group concludes the disease afflicting the city is proof the Phantom Society's plan is already underway and Algonsoft is helping them. Lunch points out this still doesn't tell them where the spores are coming from in the first place, and Six wonders what the Phantom Society even wants with all the souls. Catching them red-handed is the factory manager, who is the powerful demon Shenyaza in disguise, who reveals they actually knew the Spookies were coming and their every move. The hacker and Nemissa battle him and stall for time as Spooky adds a gig of RAM to back up the file, and as they win, the demon says Azazel and Satanel can still kill them, but panics upon realizing Nemissa is alive and can still stop their plan. Returning to base, Spooky says they're going to go on Yuichi's idea and leak all of the information they gained to the news and broadcast it to Paradigm X, warning everyone of the crypto chip and exposing the Phantom Society's schemes. However, when it comes time to launch the hack, the news instead declares the Spookies as net terrorists and doxes the hacker, Lunch, Six, and Yuichi. Stunned by this turn of events, the group then gets a message from Kudokura himself, thanking Spooky for his role in selling out the Spookies and looking forward to celebrating not as employer and employee, but as old friends. Confused, Spooky quickly asserts this is a setup and the email is a lie, though it is true he is a contract worker at Algonsoft. Yuichi counters that Spooky isn't wanted, and it was his idea to dig into the Phantom Society in the first place, and Lunch and Six agree. Nemissa points out Spooky deserves the benefit of the doubt, and points out that if he was the mole, then why was he here when the news was revealed and for an obviously suspicious email? Regardless, Lunch, Six, and Yuichi choose not to believe in Spooky and leave, and on the monitor, Keenap, as a vulture this time, tells them to meet him right now as their enemy is on the move again. Entering Paradigm X, Keenap puts the hacker on a final vision quest in which they are connected to the soul of Naomii, a powerful summoner who was meeting with Vice Minister Nishi. Nishi mentions the underground ruins beneath Amami are overrun with ancient demons that obstruct their construction of the Manitou system they want to build there. Both Tiamat and Apsu, powerful Sumerian entities, inhabit the ruins, but she needs only defeat one in order for them to proceed with the project. Accepting the job, Naomii learns that Kuzunoha are involved as well and hopes to have the chance to find and kill Rei as revenge for her fallen master. She also thinks she would be glad to leave this life behind after this one last mission, looking ahead to a life of retirement. Confronting one of the two ancient demons, Naomii is pushed to her limit to edge out a win, but in her victory, the god's defeat leaves behind a vacuum as sucks in the summoner and suffocates her. Back in the present, Keenap confirms both the woman and god perished, and in their place, Manitou grows with a hacker and Nemissa must defeat it. Spooky isn't so sure about all this soul-traveling business, but what he does know is it means to take down Algonsoft's security. Accessing Paradigm X, which is housed on Algonsoft's main server, and the same server the carriers are passing through with their stolen souls, Spooky uses his login to corrupt the syntax pointer and upload a custom virus. However, right at the last moment, Kudokura prevents the soul transfer network from crashing, saying he already expected this retaliation, but something goes wrong on his end before he can finish gloating. As the entire Amami network is experiencing problems, Nemissa thinks this is their chance to infiltrate Algonsoft's main building, but finds there is a strange barrier surrounding the site. Thinking quickly, she realizes she can pass through Paradigm X and exit server side, which should be within the building, and taking the hacker with her finds her idea works. Once inside, the group unexpectedly runs into a distracted Finnegan who halts them and actually requests their help. He knows they're enemies, but at the moment there is a bigger threat to them both, as a demon is tearing up the Paradigm X servers and using the internal network to shift the whole building into the virtual world and create a barrier blocking the way to the main server. Finnegan points out neither of them can allow a demon to take over Algonsoft, and choosing to trust him, the hacker and Nemissa form an uneasy alliance with the Enforcer to lift the seals blocking their way. Both sides split up and work together, but as the seal goes down, the hacker finds Finnegan mortally wounded after his demon's magic was sealed by an enemy named Malsum. He wishes they had found Nemissa and could stop Manitou before things ended up this way, and dies while warning the young man that summoners don't get an easy death. Venturing on, they destroy the demon Malsum who took over the building, who recognizes and fears Nemissa, and Nemissa offers to destroy all the servers in the real world. However, Hitomi weakly points out they don't know what that will do to the souls of those trapped inside, like the hacker's father, before passing out unexpectedly. Concerned, Nemissa stays her hand for now, and the group returns to base where they find Yuichi there, who seems to be in a trance as he passes along a message that Spooky, Six, and Lunch have been taken hostage and the duo are to come to Amami Monolith. Stepping in, Rei is there as well, saying a dark summoner captured them all, and Yuichi has been brainwashed to be a messenger of the Phantom Society. They realize Yuichi has been brainwashed ever since he was captured at Amami Float, and Rei informs them Hitomi's weak condition is because her soul is being crushed by Nemissa occupying the same body. She doesn't have a solution for Hitomi, but focusing on one problem at a time, the duo still decide to enter the obvious trap and rescue their friends as Rei holds down their base. Navigating the maze-like interior of the skyscraper, Six and Lunch are rescued as they learn Spooky never betrayed them, Yuichi was brainwashed, and they both took Kudokura's bait. After inputting impractical passwords, they kick down the door to Kudokura's office, but are surprised to find him disheveled and defeated, bemoaning how the internet was meant to be a place where people could communicate and be brought together. Rather, it seems it only serves to digitize the dark side of man, with the rapid spread of misinformation, the psychological decline of culture, and has even become a weapon that takes people's lives. The president of Algonsoft claims he's a victim of Nishi's lies too, as he reveals the vice minister is a member of the Phantom Society and the mastermind behind the project. In good faith, Kudokura unlocks the way to Nishi in the same building and begs them to stop him. Choosing to spare Kudokura for now, they move on and confront Nishi, who greets them all and declares the humans in this city are empty vessels and bait to expand the network, adding the antenna atop this building is about to launch Paradigm X globally. After they collect souls at an incredible rate, they will all be fed to their master, and Nemissa asks what this has to do with Manitou and herself. Surprised, Nishi is delighted to see the Nemissa they lost deliver herself right to them as he drops his human disguise and assumes his true form as the Demon King Azazel. Lunch and Six break off to destroy the antenna as the hacker and Nemissa defeat the powerful foe. Laughing as he disappears, Azazel says this is not the end as the Phantom Society still lives on, and reaching their roof, the duo see Lunch and Six have succeeded on their end too. Looking around for Spooky, their leader appears before them, chuckling, as during his capture he's been possessed by a demon that is glad both Shemyaza and Azazel are defeated, meaning they can have Manitou and the collected souls all to themselves. The real Spooky struggles to gain control of his own body, as the demon within transforms his body and forces the hacker Nemissa to strike him down. Revealing himself to be Satanel, the demon is shut down before the combined might of the duo, but as the demon is dispelled, a weakened Spooky barely holds on to life as he passes out. Before the group can get him emergency care, Kudokura now interrupts them, furious at the destruction of the antenna. He shouts that the group was only supposed to kill both Azazel and Satanel, banishing them both to the digital world, and letting slip that Nemissa was born from Manitou. The next thing he knows, the hacker is saved once again by Kinap, who reveals his true form as the last shaman from an age where humanity was in harmony with nature. He explains he is the one who once tamed Manitou, which he found to be a pure spirit lacking self that rages out if someone tries to control it. When Manitou learned madness from humanity, Kinap's voice could no longer reach it, and because Manitou also never absorbed the concept of death, it could not be stopped and only grew in power. So he sealed it away, and as a failsafe split off a piece of it called Nemissa, who could destroy Manitou by returning it to the cycle of life and death as a mercy. Now remembering her purpose, Nemissa recalls that Muis, Winpei, and Malsum all originated from Manitou as well and caused so many problems for the Phantom Society as Manitou itself grew beyond their ability to control. Now, Manitou has gone berserk, endlessly devouring souls in its rampage, and only Nemissa can stop it. Back at their base, Yuichi's brainwashing has been reversed, but as they check the news, they see there is a strange monster at a Amami monolith rooftop and figure Kudokura is quickly trying to replace the antenna they destroyed earlier. They meet up with Lunch's father, who has done more research on the crypto chip, and find the spores are coming from the building next to the Amami monolith, from an area underground. Even the minions nearby sense the origin of crypto is the greed, hate, and envy humans hold in their hearts. Deep among underground ruins, the duo find the source of the spores to be a nearly fungal tree, or NFT, named Manitou. As she gets closer, Nemissa can hear the cries of the tortured souls within it, as Manitou itself no longer listens to her. Standing on top of Manitou is Kudokura, absorbing the power from the collected souls, and Nemissa realizes that Kinap is right and Manitou and mankind cannot coexist. Embracing his wish for godlike power, Kudokura ascends it to a strong demonic form, but as this is struck down, he is absorbed by Manitou, who directly attacks the group. As the hacker and Nemissa strike down the avatar, Nemissa is able to speak directly with Manitou again. While she wishes to stay with the hacker and the spookies, Nemissa knows mankind's souls cannot withstand their existence, so it's time for them to go. She also shares that when she returns to Manitou, it will die, but that's what Manitou wants as well. As the game ends, Nemissa leaves Hitomi's body, saving her life as she changes back into her demon form to save the digital world. Combining with Manitou, it dies immediately as all spores end and the entire spirit vanishes. As time passes, the Spookies meet up one more time as Spooky himself formally declares the group disbanded, seeing how everyone has found a new path to pursue in life and they can continue on as friends. Lunch declares he's going to be a reporter, Six will move in with his grandparents and help out their shop, Yuichi decides he'll work to become a super hacker like Spooky, and Hitomi says she's going to America with her father. Spooky himself will continue hacking as he figures out what to do with his life, but lets them all know there are still plenty of villains in the world and there may be a time he needs to call on their help again. As for the young hacker himself, he logs in quickly to challenge the extra dungeon, defeating the vengeful spirit of Sid Davis of Devil Summoner 1, and matching skills against the original Devil Summoner protagonist who now inhabits Kyoji Kuzunoha. He is also noticed by alternate Raito Kuzunoha and Goto, who recognize him as a devil summoner from the Heisei era and mention how they're humbled time tourists crossing dimensions through the Akarana corridor. Looking to test the potential protector of Japan, Raito calls on the original Raito and Goto, and together they put him through his paces, as well as pitting him against the soulless god Omagatsu. Impressing the detectives, they take their leave, and the hacker returns to his life with a future before him. Leaving the trailer, he sees a new message from a familiar sender, reminding him the land is man's home no matter the era, and even without a shape they are inside of him, waiting for the tomorrow to come. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Soul Hackers has enjoyed the success of selling over 520,000 copies worldwide. This is an often overlooked Megaten sub-series by many, but let me know what you think of it in the comments below. If you enjoyed the recap, then leave a like, and big thanks to the patron and channel hacker members. Links are in the description for my Discord and ways to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next battlefield.